Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall, Psychic, all the way from the Gold Coast. I want to just take this opportunity to thank everybody that's been messaging me and everything and asking me, am I all right? I've just been on holidays for a couple of weeks, so I'm back now, ready to rock and roll again, and let's get on with a great show. So this week is one of my favourite tarot cards from the Simply Tarot deck. It's called the Four of Pentacles, and it's money improvements or money coming your way. Look, there isn't a person on the planet that I don't think would like a little bit more money coming into the coffers, particularly now as we head into the festive silly season, as we call it here in Australia. So we're heading into that really pointy end of the year where, expenses sort of mount up and we're gift giving and we're buying extra food and we're going out more and we're celebrating the end of another amazing year as we get ready to bring in the new year. So it's a very expensive time. So this is a great card to come out for all of us, saying that there's going to be some money improvements underway as we head into this very, very expensive season. So, sometimes we've got to let go of money in order to make money. And that's sometimes pretty hard when you sort of think, I've only got so much to go around, but I really do need to make an investment or spend some money over here because that in the long run is going to make me money. So this card can also mean that too, needing to let go of a few finances there in order to bring more into our lives. So it's a really, really nice card to kick the show off again. So this week astrologically, we've always got lots of things happening astrologically, and I know I say that each and every show, but it seems to be getting more and more intense as we go along. This week we're in the last couple of days of the Scorpio energy, and I know a lot of people will sort of be breathing a sigh of relief and say, oh good, because the energy will shift into Sag and all of a sudden we'll feel buoyant and alive and much more positive and outgoing than what we were. But it's really important that we honour the Scorpio time, because the Scorpio time gives us a chance to slow down a little bit, catch our breath, dig deep into our emotions, look into our soul, look at the things that we need to sort out, look at the things that we need to deal with. Sometimes we hold grudges, we have things that we hold on to in our lives for way, way too long. And when we really look at the situation that brought us to that, it's like, is that all that was? Why have we not been speaking for 10 years? Because, somebody did something that at the time we thought was a major deal and it really was a storm in a teacup. So that's what Scorpio energy is about, is delving deep in our soul, is sort of understanding our emotion, looking what's hidden under the covers, looking at what maybe we can bring our lives into more of a balance. I'm not saying every situation and every person that we've ever had a disagreement with or an argument with is not the right thing to leave that door shut. I'm just saying examine it, re-examine it, and ask yourself, is it really worth sort of having that door completely shut, or is it time to maybe try and prise it open with a little bit of, kindness from your part, that maybe they might be just feeling quite as miserable and as lonely and as sad without you as you are with them, and hopefully time has been a magical healer and all of you can get past whatever the grievances were at the beginning and make amends. And if there's something that came out of COVID, I think we all learned that our friendships and our family are incredibly important, and we need to continue honouring that. We don't need to sort of let that slip through our fingers now as we all sort of come out the other side and sort of say, oh, well, to hell with COVID, if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. And we sort of march about our daily lives with maybe not quite as much concern and care about our own personal well-being and those of us around us as we're, shooting off to different venues and making travel plans and things like that. Maybe just take a little bit of extra precaution. So as I said, the last couple of days of the sun in Scorpio, and then it'll move into Sagittarius, my favourite time of the year because I'm a Sag. But also too, before we wrap up the Scorpio section, we have Mars, the planet of action and determination, is conjunct or holding hands the sun in Scorpio at the moment. So Mars is really giving us all a really good rev to sort of say, now come on, you've got 24, 48 hours to really look at the things that I've just been previously talking about things that might need to be sorted out in your life. It's time now to have a triple check to make sure that there's nothing you've left unturned. Sometimes it's just about being too hard on ourselves. Sometimes it can be about just letting go of some of the old hurts or grievances or the restrictions that we put on ourselves. I think as we get more mature, we start to understand some of the things that really upset us in our teens and our early 20s are now no longer that important. We laugh about it and think, is that all we had to worry about? Life has taken so many other twists and turns as we go through the journey of life. And maybe this is what Mars is asking us to do, is to empty our soul and our subconscious and our unconscious of things that we no longer need. It's like a good declutter of the emotional system. We also have Mars in Scorpio sextiling Pluto. Now, Pluto I talk about quite often on the show. Sextile, it means it's 60 degrees or 2 signs away. Now, for Mars to be in Scorpio, which is a water sign, sextiling or making a nice, pleasant aspect to Pluto. Now, Pluto's the planet of transformation, heading into the last couple of months of being in Capricorn, been there for a very, very long time, since 2008. So you can see with this energy of Pluto winding up now in Capricorn in the last couple of months, it'll move into Aquarius in January 2024. That it's really sort of gaining his straps now. He's really sort of trying to shake everything up, make people look at things, bring some sort of accountability to government and government decisions and things like that. That sort of people are analysing things even way back in history. Before the show this morning, I saw something on the TV here in Australia where they were talking about JFK when he was killed and what he would have done as president had he continued to live. And, you know, that he wouldn't have made the decision to go to Vietnam, and history would have been a different place. So it's interesting to see how people are sort of starting to analyse that. And on this very auspicious occasion that, you know, talking about the passing of JFK, which is something I think there isn't a person in the world that doesn't remember that day and where they were. I was quite a little girl then when that happened, but I still remember that news coming through and adults around me crying and not making any sense at why they were so upset. I didn't know who he was, you know. He wasn't that important to me at that point. And then I realised who he was. Oh, yes, he was the president of the USA. And that was a big deal. So, you know, there's plenty of people around the world that won't ever forget that day, and nor should they. We have Mercury, the planet of communication, is sitting in Sag at the moment. So Mercury in Sagittarius is a little bit playful. Mercury is the planet of communication, which governs all communication, not just your verbal. It's your written, your emails, your text messages, your all the different devices we use these days with all these different messaging platforms. It comes under the same umbrella, no matter which one you use. And with it being in Sagittarius, Sagittarius sometimes likes to take things a little bit more lighthearted, can be a little bit cheeky. Now, Mercury can be cheeky in his own right. So couple that with the Sagittarian energy, and I affectionately call it foot and mouth disease. Anybody that's got a close friend of a Sag will know that they can quite often open their mouth, blurt it out and think later. And I know I'm very capable of that. And I've tried to monitor it over the years, but sometimes it just happens. You just can't help it. You open your mouth and it all just tumbles out. And one of the things I used to teach my astrology students over the years, if you ever want the truth, ask a Sagittarian, because they will tell you. They won't sugarcoat it. And that's something that I've always stood by. And it's one of the more endearing qualities, I think, of a Sagittarian is of them being so blunt and straight to the point and being honest. And with Mercury sitting in Sag at the moment, let's hope some of the politicians and the leaders around the world adopt some of this Sagittarian honesty at the moment and stop telling us lies and get on with the job and stop, you know, sort of duck shoving things here, there and everywhere. Wouldn't that be a nice change? We can always live in hope. And that's one thing I'm good at is spreading the positivity and the living in hope. So we have also what's known as the part of fortune, which is an Arabian part, and it's not where we're going to find the pot of gold at the rainbow, but it's an area of astrology that is quite important. Now, this affects each and every sign at the moment. The part of fortune is conjunct or holding hands the North Node, which is one of the moon's nodes, which is showing us the way forward. It's sitting in Aries. So it's when I say it's affecting each of the 12 signs, it is. I mean, predominantly, yes, more the fire signs, Aries, Sag, and Leo, and the opposite sign of Libra. But what it's doing is asking each and every sign to sort of listen to their emotions. It's like the part of fortune holding hands or conjunct with the moon's north node is showing us the way forward, is showing us how that we can come to terms with making some plans for the future, that we need to be very honest, they're very blunt with ourselves. We need to be aspiring towards some new changes in our lives or bringing our lives more into balance. We have the ability to do so, and we have to look at what part we're responsible for and how we can go about it. And that's the important thing, is that we have to get up off the couch. We have to instigate this. We have to make this happen. It's up to us to start the ball rolling, so to speak. So if you've been putting something off, or if you've been planning on sort of maybe doing something different with your life, or looking at something different in your life, maybe looking for a new job or moving house or doing something, now's the time to start to put the first foundation steps down. It may not necessarily be the time to execute the whole plan, but it is the time to start making sort of some decisions and some choices and putting some action into place. We still have Neptune, the planet of illusion and delusion and creativity, still sitting in Pisces. Neptune feels very comfortable in Pisces because it rules Pisces. So it feels as if it's a time of great creativity. We may see in the coming 12 months or so some really amazing songs being written, some amazing music, maybe some amazing paintings, anything that's on a creative level. We should see that start to go through the roof. And it's still the perfect time with Neptune still sitting in Pisces. Now that the writers have gone back off strike in the USA, maybe now we're going to start to see some absolutely fantastic scripts, because they had that lengthy period of time off work where their creative juices were just sort of blocked, where they couldn't do anything, but their mind probably didn't stop. So now's the time for them to get it down on paper or on their device and start creating some of that magic that we know only too well. We also have Jupiter, the planet of luck and expansion and opportunity, is still sitting in Taurus. We'll be there for a while yet, another 6 months or so. So Jupiter's asking each and every one of us to be a little bit more mindful of our spending going forward. Even though it's a time that we like to be very generous and we spend up big over the festive period, maybe what Jupiter's asking us to do here is sort of look at it and look at it in the way of purchasing something maybe more practical, something that's going to last a little bit longer, maybe spend a little bit less money and just buy one item instead of five, and buy something that's good quality and something that's going to mean something to that person. I think we all got carried away with the throwaway society and things being cheaper, and we could buy in such bulk of so many things. Instead of one or two gifts under the Christmas tree, we then had a room full of gifts that we were giving to children. And, at the end of the day, they really didn't know what to play with. And most of it got thrown in the trash anyway because it broke quickly or whatever. Wouldn't it be better to go back to a couple of really sensible, well-built items or things that are going to stand the test of time, and then a couple of little things that that they can play with that are junky that can be thrown in the trash when they break? Maybe that's what Jupiter's asking us to do this festive season, or go back to looking at making something from the heart. When I was a child and there wasn't a lot of money around, I can remember my aunts and that all gathering together just prior to Christmas and making lots and lots of candy and doing that up in little parcels and little jars and things like that. And that was gifts that were given to neighbours or the minister or the shopkeeper or whatever, just as a little token to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. This is from our family to yours. And I think those sort of things, we need to bring some of those traditions back. So that's what I feel Jupiter is trying to share with us this year, is maybe we need to bring back some of those old traditions and make them new and fresh for the 21st century. We also still have Uranus, the planet of the unusual and unexpected, is still sitting in Taurus as well. So Uranus is still doing his dance around the planet. A lot of people are still feeling quite restless. I know in my work over the last month or so, particularly, and it doesn't mean just here in Australia, it's all around the world, that people are getting itchy feet again. People are looking to change their job. They're looking to maybe relocate, to bring their lives back into a different sort of balance. It's different to what we all experienced during COVID and lockdowns, and a lot of people made their way homeward and reorganized, that they were able to work from home and things like that. It's sort of similar to that, but it's sort of more like, now it's not just so do I want to work remotely. It's about a lifestyle choice. It's about people wanting to be where they want to be and not necessarily be governed by, I've got to be in this location for work anymore. They're looking to sort of bring their lives even more into balance. And I'm not saying more people are looking to work remotely. I'm just saying they're looking to sort of find jobs in their local area or in an area that they wish to reside. So there's a lot of movement going on around the world at the moment, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, we all need change and we all need to evolve and grow with trends and listen to our heart and do what's right for us. And I think, the more we can bring our lives into balance as an individual and a little family, then that sort of has a ripple effect that goes all out across the globe, and things start to become a lot more calm, and people start to look at things in a different sort of life and value things more in the way of, not so much material possessions, but the connections, the people, our family, our friends are the most important fabric in our lives. It's not how many cars we've got sitting in the driveway or how many dresses you've got hanging up in the closet. It's about the people. It's the people that make us rich. It's not the money in the bank. It's the people that make us wealthy. So we're going to talk with Colette in Brookhaven in Georgia in USA. Are you there, Colette?
Yes, I am.
Do you have a question I can answer for you, please, Colette?
Oh, a general question. What's
Yeah.
going on? What's coming
What's
up
going
soon?
Okay, all right. I can do that for you. The first thing that they're sharing with me, Colette, is there's a number of endings and changes and transformations coming up around you. So has this year been a real sort out year for you where you've sort of gone through everything with a fine tooth comb in your life, not just your clothing, but, emotions, sorting out what it is that you want?
That's true.
Yeah. So to me, we're almost at the end of that. It's sort of now time to sort of put some of those answers or some of those findings into place now that we can start to bring in sort of change. So 2024 is going to get off to a little bit of a slow start for you. And I don't want you to be disappointed by that. I want you to just sort of glide your way into 2024, not making any rash changes unless it's absolutely necessary. Let's just sort of coast along till about March. And then I think things are going to ramp up very, very quickly. Have you made some changes to where you're living this year, or were you thinking of moving? They're showing me sort of
A lot of
question marks.
changes. Yes.
Yeah, they're still
Yes,
showing
a
me
lot
there's
of changes.
a lot of changes around where you're living.
Yes, for the past year or so.
Yeah, they're still showing me there's a little tiny bit more to be done. Does that sit comfortably with you?
Not really, but it'll have to. Yes.
Yeah, but look, it might be something simple. We might be down to, choosing what color cushions to put on the couch. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't showing me as
Okay.
it being major things. It was just sort of like a couple of little adjustments there. And it's like once that's done, then your focus can go on to other areas. I'm seeing sort of the potentially a new job after March next year. Is that something that you've been thinking about?
Yes,
But
definitely.
they're showing me that it's not quite the right time yet. So I can only take from that, maybe have a good look at your CV and see whether you've got your skills are up to the minute. Is there anything else you want to add to it? Is it the time to do a little bit of extra training or study to get you where you want to go? I don't want to see you sort of just change one job and move 2 blocks down the street and have exactly the same job with a different name over the door. You know what I mean? I want this to be a real change for you, something that you can get your teeth into and something you can sort of build into a career. To me, jobs are just what pays the bills. Careers are something that we're passionate about. What they're showing me was they want to get you into a career, something that you're going to be passionate about, that you're excited to get out of bed of a morning to go to work for. And certainly the current job you've got at the moment doesn't fit that category to me.
No, do you see any money issues coming up though?
It's interesting that you asked that because when I looked at money around you, they were just sort of, it was like they were throwing a few gold coins here and a few gold coins there, as if to sort of say there's enough trickling in to get you by, but there's no real excess, if that makes any sense. Like you won't starve, you'll pay your bills, but there won't be a lot left over, not just yet. I keep coming
Hmm.
back to 2024. After March, things get a lot stronger for you, become a lot better. And I think with the new job
Okay.
will come more money. But whatever you've done this year to change your finances around, it's starting to work now. So obviously that was part of the changes that you made, was took control of your finances and started to try and be back in the driver's seat again.
Okay. Yeah.
So keep going. I mean, sometimes it seems like we're not really making any progress, but you are actually making progress. It's just we can't measure it on the ruler. You know what I mean? It's so minuscule, but each step is a step forward more towards your own financial freedom and security. And things are going to be getting better. So that's where we're going to leave it, Colette. I wish you well and have a happy Thanksgiving. We're going to talk with Rebecca in Ontario in Canada. Are you there, Rebecca?
I am. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, sweetie. Do you have a question I can answer for you?
Um, you do a little finance reading for me?
I can do a
Improvement?
finance reading for you. Yes, I mean it's the number one topic next to love that most of us sort of struggle with. It's interesting what they're
Yes.
showing me with you is that it's sort of like you've been your own worst enemy, Rebecca. I think you've been too tough on yourself. a little bit. You're trying to sort of get on top of the finances, and I think sometimes you're just so obsessed with it that you're too tough on
Mhm.
yourself, that you're sort of blocking the flow of the money, if that makes any sense. Sometimes I think
Yep.
we can get so obsessed with something that we don't see other possibilities or things around us that maybe could make us smile because we're so focused on this. I'm not saying that you're not doing well. I think you're doing exceptionally well. But what I want to see you do, and this might sound counterintuitive, is to occasionally buy yourself a little treat and pick it up and say, here you go, Rebecca. Here's a nice little gift for you because you've been such a good girl. And then you say, oh, wow, that's just what I wanted, a bottle of nail varnish. And you sort of you're teaching yourself to receive, that it's okay to receive. It's not a dirty word, it's not something to be ashamed of. And sometimes I think when we're so stressed financially, we forget sometimes the little things that can make such a difference in our lives. Spending a couple of dollars on a bottle of nail varnish, or buying yourself a nice pair of underwear or something that's cheap and it's going to make you feel good, even if it's not good quality, is something that uplifts your soul, and that sort of in turn then sort of starts to attract more money back towards you, or sort of starts to ease that burden a little bit. You've got to do those things every now and then. I know they're showing me the last 2.5 to 3 years have been particularly tricky financially, haven't they?
Yes.
Yeah, well, they're showing me, we've got to again glide through to the end of this year. 2024 is going to see it become a lot easier financially. And it's not so much that you've done anything different. It's just that I think there's a number of things that are coming to an end, like things that you were paying off or whatever, they're coming to an end. So sort of like there's another $5 this week in the family budget than there was last week, of we can put that off something else. And it's sort of like by the time we get halfway through 2024, you're going to look back and say, wow, I've come out the other side, and you're really proud of yourself, and you should be. So are you looking to do
Okay.
something different as well? Is there something else that you're looking at taking up that could bring in some extra money too, Rebecca?
Um, I got to do something. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not
look,
right set
they
on
never show
anything.
me they never showed me what it is. They just showed me it was something that you enjoyed doing and it didn't feel like work, but you were going to make some extra dollars out of it. You're going to make some extra money out of it. And it's like, oh, wow, well, I don't know why I didn't think of this before. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm. Yeah,
and it's not
I
far
know what you're
away.
talking about.
Okay, well, then it's
Pardon?
time to get it moving.
All right.
Sometimes we just need to kick up the pants, don't we, Rebecca, to do it?
Hmm.
We know what we should
Yeah.
do, but we sort of put it off and put it off. And look, we're all good at procrastinating. I'm no different to anybody else in that department. So, but you
Hmm.
know now that what you have been doing is working. It's just too slow. We want to ramp it up a
Yeah.
bit. We want to get it moving quicker so that you can get back into a position where, you can go to the supermarket, not have to think whether you can put that in the trolley or not. Like I want to get you to that point that, not necessarily are you going to be wasting money, but things aren't such a strain on you as what they have been. But you're very intuitive, Rebecca. It's time, I think, you really started to listen to your own inner voice a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that's part of what you've been avoiding, isn't it? Because you don't want the
Yes.
responsibility of it. Yeah, and I can understand that. It is a very responsible position to be in. But look, can I suggest to you that if you're going to go and do something, you're going to start listening to your inner voice. Do it with simple things. Like you get out of bed and you've got this funny feeling that Mary's going to come and visit you today. Write that down at what time you got it and how you felt. And then when Mary turns up and in a week's time you look at it and think, oh yeah, that was right. Do you know what I mean? That you're sort of confirming what
Yeah.
you're getting. Sometimes it'll just be
Yeah.
simple, trivial things like that, but it helps build that. I know you're going to do well, Rebecca. Have a happy Thanksgiving, sweetie. Lovely to talk to you.
Thank you
So it's
very
really
much.
interesting.
Appreciate.
You're very welcome, sweetie. It's really interesting as most of us sort of, struggle with finances and struggle with family and whatever else. And, we come to this time of the year. And I know for many places around the world, you'll be celebrating Thanksgiving in the next couple of days. Here in Australia, we don't celebrate it. It's one of the holidays I think we should adapt, and to teach us all to be thankful for the people in our lives, the people that are special, the people that mean something to us. Because before too long, sometimes those people disappear, don't they? They pass on, or they move move on out of our lives, and we didn't really cherish them and look out for them when they were here like we should do. So, it's a really amazing time of the year, and I really do think in Australia we do need to adopt Thanksgiving, because I think we have a lot to be thankful for here. In my family, we do celebrate it. We always have done, but that's just something that we've always done. But, I don't know too many other people here in Australia that do. So for all of our family in the USA and Canada that will be sitting around the turkey and spending some wonderful time with their family and friends over the next few days, make the time count. Enjoy the time with your family and friends. Make sure you do it in a safe way, and maybe practice some COVID safety. Open the windows, even though it might be a bit chilly. Might be just the thing to stop those germs floating around. So the other thing I want to mention before I go, and at the end of every show, I always talk to you about a song that's had a big influence in my life in the last week, or one I've had on the turntable, or one that I've been playing a lot because I love music, and I always have music going in the background when I'm doing work, not when I'm doing readings, when I'm doing other work, research and things like that. And this week it's the 6th anniversary of one of the greatest singers that ever walked the planet. And for those of you that are regular viewers on this show, you'll know who I'm talking about. Yes, it's 6 years ago today that we lost David Cassidy. And it only seems like a moment ago that I heard the news that he passed away. And it is going to be a sad day for all his fans around the world. So today I'm going to dedicate a song for him, but I also want to dedicate it to everybody that's with Thanksgiving, and make sure that you cherish those people that are in your lives that are so important. So the song I'm going to leave you with is, of course, David Cassidy's Cherish. And before I go, I want to just give a big thank you to Terry Cote, who made my beautiful necklace and bracelet, and it's called the Cassidy Rose. Terry Cote was David Cassidy's drummer, and the girls from England that sent me these beautiful Cassidy Rose earrings to mark the occasion. It's a very special day for all of us Cassidy fans around the world and my Cassidy family. Until next week, bye for now.